And Joe, can you hear me? You don't think she can? She can. Okay. All right. You ready to roll? Okay. All right. All right. Good. Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm Ann Tomalabit, and I want to welcome everybody to Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Pottstown. Your brilliance is blinding me. So I'm going to squint like Popeye. I just don't have the arm. Since 1967, we've been a warm and welcoming liberal community right here in Pottstown. Our founders have poured their hearts, their resources, and their talents into creating this special place. And together we carry on their inspiring legacy. In their spirit, we continue their mission of nurturing spiritual journey, embracing diversity, celebrating community, and turning values into action. I want to share this welcoming prayer with you by Marianne Hockman. I hope I said her name right, Potter. Well, you wouldn't know if it was Carter or Cotter. Okay, so welcome to this place of possibility. This is Love's Park, a home of hope, a refuge for minds in search of truth, unfolding, ever beautiful, ever strange. Here, compassion is our shelter, freedom our protection from the storms of bigotry and hate. In this abode, may we find comfort and courage. Here may our sight become vision to see the unseen, to glimpse the good that is yet to be. And we are glad you are all here. Now's the time for announcements. And then I'll introduce our guest speakers. Some of you met Joe back in November, but here she is today. We want to do announcements first, and then I'll introduce them. So while we're waiting for our announcers, I just want to thank Emily, who is running our technology today, and Kay, who will be leading us in the song. So, announcers.
Good morning, I'm Valerie. Happy New Year. I wanted to remind everyone that I'm still selling raffle tickets to the craft raffle today and the next 2 Sundays, and then the drawing will be on the 18th. I don't know my phone. I think it's the 18th. The tickets are 5 tickets for $10 or 12 tickets for $20. If you spend 20, you get this 2 extra free tickets. Also, I have decided to help people out. I will take fentanyl because I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, I forgot the cash today." So that will be happening as well. I finally made sure that there are enough jars out there for all of the items that we have. We've gotten so many donations. It was awesome. Thank you. Hello, I'm Monica. Thanks for coming today. We have the committee council meeting will be on Tuesday. I'm going to be hosting that, so I'll send out a Zoom link to all the committee council people. And then also the end of the month on the 25th, we're having a town hall. That's for community members and for congregational members. It's going to be to get ideas and things for our upcoming fiscal year, because we're having our board retreat in February. So it's just going to help us generate some new ideas and things. So thank you very much.
Good morning, I'm Sam. Just a couple of quick things. I replaced a couple of lights in the social hall, spotlights that will burn out. The third one burn out actually just needs to be screwed in. Second thing is I have not posted the congregational church cleaning schedule yet. I have met with Holly this morning and she did a good cleaning this week. So next week I will take care of it. Then it will be every other week that Holly, her company or her company will be doing the cleaning. And then the congregation will be responsible for cleaning the bathrooms, the hallway around, the kitchen, and the entryway. I take care of all the trash and stuff on Thursdays when it's picked up on Fridays, or Fridays when it's picked up on Saturdays. A good schedule. So that'll be posted later this week. So I will do it this coming week, and then we'll figure out how to get that. I'm happy to show you what basically, it's a basic cleaning for the congregation. It's not this massive come in here and clean, and social hall, those kinds of things. It's just hitting the high traffic areas. Thank you.
Morning, I'm Laurie. I haven't announced these dolls in a while. These are the dolls we send to Health Partners International of Canada. And they can be knitted or crocheted. They go to children who are living in poverty-stricken areas. And they're distributed by service people or health professionals to the children who may be dealing with trauma and require some comfort. So if anybody wants to learn to knit or wants to contribute, there's some flyers out on the credenza in the lobby. And on the third Sunday, I try to hang around after potluck in case anybody wants to learn this. So we're just gonna surpass like 125 set. So just keep it going. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. All right, let me introduce Reverend Jo. I'm really excited to introduce her because, you know, having her back again, a lot of people really enjoyed what she had to say back in November. So here she is again. For those of you who didn't meet her back in November, she's obviously with us through the miracle of Zoom. She's in California, and the way that I met her is through my sister. Joe and my sister Pat were both studying at Starr King Seminary in Berkeley. And my husband Joe, who's right up front here, he and I welcomed Joe to our home for Thanksgiving twice. It's been too long though, Joe, you gotta come back east. And then Pat and I took her to Belsnickel for her on her first visit. Now, Joe says that she came to the ministry in 2008, later in life, but before being called to the ministry, she started right out of college as an art teacher and then got her master's in counseling education. She's been a teacher, a counselor, an actor, a singer, an artist, mediator, and an administrator before landing like a butterfly in the UU ministry. Now, you'll be interested to know because our social action committee is very active. Joe is an at-large board member for the Alternatives to Violence program, or AVP. And this is an association of community, school, and prison-based groups offering experiential workshops in personal growth, community development, and creative conflict management. The AVP together brings together diverse groups of people to build Dr. Martin Luther King's nonviolent, beloved community to build a more peaceful and equitable world. Now, before Joe shares her sermon with us, she'll lead us in a few minutes or a few elements in our order of service. So when she and I were preparing for this service, we decided it would be a good idea to introduce her early so you wouldn't be wondering, well, who's that dame up on the screen? So I wanted to tell you a little bit about her. Now, Joe, I'm going to hand it over to you for your reading for the chalice lighting, and we can't light the chalice through Zoom. So Cliff has graciously been voluntold to do the honors. Cliff.
Thank you very much, Anne. As we light the chalice this morning, I will say some words that are from Mary Sheldon entitled Into Many Coming Years. We cannot know what all the year may bring, And would we heed the prophecy if we could? Bright flame awake, send forth your shining light beyond this year into the many coming. Show us the ways of love and help and care, of justice, mercy, and equality. Illuminate unto the generations. Show to the world a beacon of safe harbor. Help us to find the kind warmth within us and among us to help make it so. Blessed be.
The chime calls us to gather. And before I tap the chime, I'd like everyone to put your phone into worship mode. If you go into settings, you'll see a little airplane with a halo. And so you want to tap on that. Now, the chime allows us to come into the present and focus on the gift that is the present moment. Get this thing all set up here. All right, here comes the chime. Whoops, I had my finger on it. There we go. Joe, I think you have some more opening words for us.
I do. Thank you, Anne. I wanted to say good morning to everyone in person and on Zoom here with us this morning. It's a pleasure to be with you all again, once again. And Happy New Year. Let us gather this morning and hold in our hearts more hope that the world will become a better place. Many of us are startled at the news yesterday of the bombing that we perpetrated on Venezuela. We can hold all Venezuelans in our hearts and also hold that we so far have safety here and a new beginning of this new year. I pray for our country and for Venezuela as we navigate through these treacherous times. We will have a ritual this morning, so have a piece of paper, a pen, and an envelope at the ready. As we send our prayers southward, let us listen to some adapted words from Marnie Harmony. We whose journey are always beginning, we whose mission always awaits us, we whose visions are bent on loving, we gather together here. We gather as a community drawn together out of common need, each toting our own carpet bag of treasures and dreams. We gather together seeking meaning, yearning to understand life in all its dimensions, as it challenges and expands, as it burdens, as it consoles and heals. We gather together with questions, the kind of questions that provoke us to the path of action. We gather with hope, the kind of hope that pulses on through uncertainty. We gather with tenderness, the kind of tenderness that can only be born from knowing human capabilities as well as human imperfections. We gather wanting certainty and having none, but we are wakeful to possibilities as we seek discernment and gentle judgment. We gather, drawn to our source, our Creator. Amen. Blessed be.
Right, please stand in body or spirit. Our hymn is number 1017, Building a New Way. And now we have a story for all ages. If we members feature, the name is going to be taken care of. So,
When I was actually looking for stories that go along with the new beginning theme, I found a UU original story. Sorry, there's no pictures in them. All right, it's called The Little Chalice and the First Day. In a small town filled with tall trees and friendly sidewalks, there was a little chalice who lived on a shelf in a bright, welcoming room. Every Sunday, children gathered there to sing, share joys and concerns, and light the chalice together. The little chalice loved those moments most of all. When its flame flickered to life, it felt warm and purposeful, like it was helping everyone remember something important. One quiet morning, the chalice noticed something new. The room smelled of fresh paint, the chairs were arranged differently, and a colorful banner read, "Welcome." What was happening, the chalice wondered. Soon the door opened and in came children the chalice had never seen before. Some were excited, some were shy, and a few held tightly to a grown-up's hand. One child whispered, "I don't know anyone here." The chalice felt a gentle flutter inside. New beginnings, they thought. They can feel a little scary. When it was time to light the flame, the child who had never done it before stepped forward. Their hands shook just a bit as they held the match. "It's okay," the teacher said softly. "We can do this together." The flame lit and the chalice glowed warmly. The light danced across every face, old friends and new ones alike, and the room felt calmer and kinder. As the children shared their names and stories, the chalice listened. One child was new to the town, another had started a new school, and someone else said they were learning how to be brave. The chalice realized something important. New beginnings don't mean starting alone, they mean starting together. By the end of the morning, laughter filled the room. The once shy child was building with blocks, the new friend was sharing with crayons, and the banner didn't feel so unfamiliar anymore. As the flame gently blown out, the chalice felt proud. New beginnings weren't about being perfect or knowing what comes next. They were about openness, kindness, and the courage to show up. And the little chalice knew it would be ready every time a new beginning arrived.
thank you. Thank you for being here. Okay, we're going to sing the children out. I want to share a reading with you. It is from Hope Darren, and it is within the theme of beginnings end. And it's called A Seed Knows How to Wait. A seed knows how to wait. Most seeds wait for several years before starting to grow. A cherry seed can wait 100 years with no problem. What exactly each seed is waiting for is known only to that seed. Some unique trigger combination of temperature, moisture, light, and many other things is required to convince a seed to jump off the deep end and take its chance, to take its one and only chance to grow. A seed is alive while it waits. Every acorn on the ground is just as alive as the 300-year-old oak tree that towers over it. Neither the seed nor the old oak is growing. They are both just waiting. Their waiting delivers, however, in that the seed is waiting to flourish, while the tree is only waiting to die. When you go into a forest, you probably tend to look up at the plants that have grown so much taller than you ever could. You probably don't look down, where just beneath your single footprint sits between 100 and 1,000 seeds, each one alive and waiting. When you are in the forest, for every tree that you see, there are no less than 3 million more trees waiting in the soil, fervently wishing to be. When the embryo within a seed starts to grow, it basically just stretches out of its doubled over posture, elongating into official ownership of the form that assumed years ago. The hard coat that surrounds a peach pit, a sesame or a mustard seed, or a walnut shell mostly exists to prevent this expansion. In the laboratory, we simply scratch the hard coat and add a little water, and it's enough to make almost any seed grow. It must have cracked thousands of seeds over the years, and yet the next day's green never fails to amaze me. Something so hard can be so easy if you just have a little hope. In the right place, under the right conditions, you can finally stretch out into what you're supposed to be. Each beginning is the end of a waiting. We are each given exactly one chance to be. Each of us is both impossible and inevitable. Every replete tree was first a seed that waited. Amen. Blessed be. Okay, we have the offering now. Giving is not about doing, it is an invitation to invest in the life of this community, to nurture its spirit, and to carry its mission forward. We now receive the morning offering with open hands and open hearts. If you are here for the first time or the 100th time, the offering is just that. It's not a fee, it's not dues. It's just whatever you want it to be. We're just glad you're here with us. Now, before I pass the chalice on to you, Joe, I want to ask you a key question. Are you ready to share your sermon with us?
I am. Thank you, Anne. Every new beginning comes from other beginnings, and that is a line from the song Closing Time by the band Semisonic. The first time I heard that, I felt I had heard a profound sentence. I had never thought how endings and beginnings are so connected. In fact, in my brain, I don't think I thought they were connected at all. I began to research that line and discovered that the band member who wrote it intended this song to be about his impending fatherhood and knew his bandmates wouldn't want to sing about that all the time, so he made it about a bar where the bartender throws out the patrons, just like a baby gets thrown out of a womb. He still had this secret desire to write about this new person, soon to be entering into this world. And apparently they have credited this line to the Roman philosopher Seneca the Younger. No wonder it sounded so prophetic to me. Seneca lived from 4 BCE to 64 CE, millennium ago, and yet seemed to be such a wise man. Wikipedia says he was a statesman, a dramatist, and a satirist, and yet there is much common sense in what he says. Because before I read this, I didn't connect that there needed to be an ending of something before a new beginning began. But that line, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end, struck a chord in me that I couldn't shake. Does something really have to end for something else to begin? Does it have to? I began to ponder that question even when I deep down already knew the answer. When it comes to my life, I have had to have something end before a new beginning could occur. Sometimes there are concurrent beginnings before the ending happens. That I have realized. Truly, though, depending on the occurrence, some things have to end to make space for a new beginning to begin. Maybe everything doesn't end before a new beginning begins, but we must make space in our lives for new things to enter. Sometimes those spaces are created for us. I had been working as the executive assistant to the senior rabbi in a temple when we were laid off for lack of funds that the synagogue was experiencing. I had just called Boston a couple of months before, inquiring as to how do I become a Unitarian Universalist minister. And lo and behold, that space was created for me when I got laid off. It was funny because the senior rabbi called me into his office one day and said, almost with tears in his eyes, how he felt so badly, but the finance committee had determined 3 of us needed to be laid off due to lack of funding. And there I sat, biting my tongue to keep from smiling because it gave me the freedom to move and go to seminary. It makes me laugh to this day. After he gave me the news, he had asked if I wanted some time alone. And I said I could make a phone call. And I called a very good friend of mine. And when I told her, she exclaimed, "Congratulations." She knew I had been contemplating going to seminary, and that became the opening and the opportunity to follow this dream. I've been told many times in different ways, when one door is closed, another one opens, or your higher power or the universe gives you those things you wish to happen. Many amorphisms like that. And I tend to believe it. It happened in this case anyway, and now I'm a retired Unitarian Universalist minister. So it changed the course of my life, offered me the opportunity to minister in 3 different states, move from one coast to the other, and make many friends along the way. In other words, it opened up a whole new world for me that I had not contemplated before. And the fact that I accepted this change in my life made all the difference in the world. What happens, though, when we don't let go of the endings so that new beginnings can emerge? Is there space for the new when we cling to the old? I discovered in my life that there was not. I had to let go of the old to make space for the new. And that meant really letting go. And sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. Letting go of what once was. We all want things to stay the same. There's a safety. There's a comfort. There's an order to having things be the same all the time. We don't have to think about it. It's in its little box. It's tucked away where it's supposed to be. And we can go day to day knowing that there will be a sameness to our lives. There is comfort in that. There is safety in that. And this could be how we live our lives. It could be how we organize our homes. It could be how we run our businesses. We keep doing things the same way because simply we have always done them that way. But is there challenge in that? Is there wisdom in that? Is there living life to the fullest in that? Do we have fear of ending, of changing, when there could be bright sunshine on the other side? Like the seeds that flower, are we losing the possibility of growing something new that doesn't look like the old? Are we losing the possibility of what it will grow into? This time of year, so many people take a year ending as a sign to begin again. We're in a new year just beginning, and many of us use this demarcation of time as a way to make a new beginning. We seem to always want to lose weight, get more sleep, spend more time with our families, or whatever our resolutions say. Is that a new beginning, though, if we haven't had an ending? What I've learned from reflecting on this one verse in this one song is that there's not room for endings and beginnings in the same place. I have to let go of some kind of an ending before the beginning can take root. And there's a lot that's involved in letting go of endings. There is liable to be some grief. There has to be change. There has to be something that's stopped so that something can begin. What is an ending in your life? Sometimes these endings are forced upon us. Sometimes we initiate them. Sometimes there's an ending with no beginning in sight. That happens more than people want to admit. But that's okay. We may not have a beginning ready when the ending comes. We may have to sit with discomfort for a while, and that's not easy. When I was laid off, I had a semblance of a new beginning in my thoughts, but that has not always happened. Sometimes I had to sit in the discomfort of what was to come next. And yet when I did that, when I did the searching, the beginning showed itself. When the ending came at my job, I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't really ready for it, but it came anyway. And I believe divine providence guided me through it. I participated in my own ending so that I could have this new beginning. There are many different ways that endings come to us. It is how we use those endings to make new beginnings that give us that growing seed within us. Sometimes when we start a new beginning, it initiates an ending on its own. That doesn't mean it's any easier. That doesn't mean it won't be difficult in some ways. but it is more exciting sometimes when we initiate it ourselves. Although actually that's not necessarily true. I didn't initiate my layoff that started me on the path to ministry, but it has been the most exciting ending I've encountered so far. I could have laid crumpled on the ground, wondering what was next. What would I do? But that didn't happen, even though I didn't initiate the ending. So, no, there is not an easy way to encountering endings, and it's not always easy to start new beginnings. But if we don't do either of those, we will sit just where we are. So let's take a few minutes now to write down your new beginning if you haven't already. Write down what it is, and it could be a personal beginning. It could be something for this congregation to start. It could be something you want to start in a community you are in. It could be something for the world to change. Let's take a few minutes now to ponder and write down a new beginning or some change you wish to initiate. After you've written this on paper, place that paper in the envelope provided and write your name on the front with the date open on July 1st, 2026. Then you can open it then and read it. So let's take a few moments right now to reflect and write. And I will sound a bell when the time is through. And there is time. I hope this was an exciting ritual for you. If you haven't finished, maybe you can return to it later on to add to it. It could be a beginning you've always wanted to have. It could be a beginning that you only recently considered. Or it could be a beginning that just occurred to you this morning. I hope you relish it. I hope you're excited about it. Know that with this new beginning, there has to be an ending. What will that ending look like? If your new beginning is starting a new job or a new career, there will have to be an ending of the old. If it means creating a healthier body, you have to be willing to give up the old one. We have to be willing to give up the old so that the new can grow in its place. There has to be a space for this new beginning, a place to nurture it, to grow, to reach towards the sunshine, not have any endings blocking its path. May your new beginning shine and grow and become all that you want it to be. Every new beginning comes from some other beginnings, and may it be so. Blessed be.
Very much, Joe. I need to work a little bit more on mine. Why don't you stand in body or spirit for our closing hymns, which is 1008. Your heart is in a holy place. us to share our joys and sorrows. During this time that we're entering, we turn off the video cameras out of respect to the. You have to leave sight of the shore. So we're all sailing together, thanks to Joe. And thank you for being with us today and for giving us that exercise to help us at this time of year. And remember to open your envelopes on July 1st. Maybe we should have a service around that.
And we will.
We will, okay, all right. I'm in charge, so we will. Yeah, never doubt it. All right, those of us who are here in person, please join us for refreshments in the fellowship hall, or as my sister calls it, Unitarian Communion. So until we meet again, stay sunny. Go in peace. Namaste, shalom, amen, and blessed be. And thank you again, Joe. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you all very much. Happy New Year.
These Zoomers today. That's so much fun. The other night. Sarah, my favorite. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. But I have an idea. I want you to but I can't like I take the I have a favorite. Yeah, I'll like please. Okay, yes. Yeah, yes. I mean, yeah. So